All right, Pat Murphy on the line from Bucknuts 247 Sports. Pat, what's our tote board stand at in regards to NFL departures? Anybody else we need to hear from? Of course, we just talked about Shaun Wade in particular.
Yeah, there are a number of guys that I think are almost certainties to go. Obviously Shaun Wade already made his announcement, but Wyatt Davis, like Shaun Wade, declared before the Big Ten came back this year. So I expect him to go. Again, a unanimous All-American, doesn't have much to come back for. Justin Fields seems to me to be a guy that is going to go. There have been rumors, or buzz, I guess I should say, that he is giving more consideration to coming back than a lot of people expected. I still expect that he will depart, and that was made even stronger today when Urban Meyer listed, as I mentioned, the top quarterbacks in the draft and included Justin Fields. So if he knew something about Justin Fields not coming back, I think he probably wouldn't have used his name. But I think more likely than not, Justin Fields goes. But I do think, the way that the season ended, he's not entirely happy with that, and is at least giving some consideration to possibly coming back. Chris Olave, a guy who is likely to go as well. His career ended, or if this was the end of his career, it ended well in terms of production and what he was able to do these last couple games. And then there's kind of fringe guys that, probably could go, but would probably benefit from coming back. Cornerback Sevyn Banks, defensive end Tyreek Smith, who I mentioned earlier, Josh Proctor, the safety who started this year, defensive end Tyler Friday. Does Tommy Togiai go? Tight end Jeremy Ruckert, who played very well, especially in these two playoff games. So I think there's probably 4 or 5 guys that you would be surprised if they came back, and then some other guys that would certainly be surprised if they left. But this day and age, I think it's hardly ever a surprise when someone declares. And then there's the guys that can come back for an additional senior year because of the NCAA rule that this year basically doesn't count against eligibility. Ohio State's cornerback Marcus Williamson announced in the build-up to one of the playoff games, I forget which one, that he was already coming back despite being a senior. Only started really this year. And then the other name I'm going to be interested to see is if Haskell Garrett decides to come back. Again, he's another guy, a senior who really only started this one season, played very well, was named a first-team All-American by a couple of different outlets, but only 8 games as a starter at Ohio State. If he comes back for another year, is productive as expected, then I think he could really boost his draft stock, maybe even to a first-round level guy. So, there's a lot of guys we're keeping an eye on. I check Twitter and Instagram often to see if these guys have posted anything, because you never know where they're going to announce. You've got to be on the alert, because if they put it out and you're not paying attention, it's bad news.
Yes. God bless you guys like you, Pat, having to keep track of all that. The social media accounts, where it was more traditional years ago, but now you got to track all these guys. And I don't want to give Ohio State fans false hope, but if Justin Fields returns, then that completely, you go from, there's still the odds-on favorite in the Big Ten. They're still so much more talented than everyone else, but it goes from we should win the Big Ten to let's not even really consider seriously national championship playoff. Let's see how it goes to, oh, let's take another run at this. You're talking about a game-changing, season-changing kind of possibility there.
Yeah, well, the one thing I will say, and I don't think anyone should be disappointed if Justin Fields comes back. As you just said, that changes the whole spectrum of expectations. But if you look at what Ohio State has, is 2 freshman quarterbacks now, both high 4-star guys. Another 5-star kid coming in Kyle McCord, who will be here in a matter of days here in January. So those guys are looking at, okay, next year is the year I get to go. Now, if Justin Fields comes back, there's a good chance you lose at least one of those, probably one of the freshman guys that decides to transfer. So you are risking a little bit of your future if Justin Fields comes back. But as you mentioned, the payoff could be, you're playing for another national championship in a year from now. So I do think there's kind of a fine line, and this is something coaches have to work with these players at the end of the year about, because at a school like Ohio State, when you're bringing in top talent after top talent, the expectation is, okay, guys are going to move on, and if one guy doesn't kind of follow that trajectory or that plan that everyone kind of had in the back of their mind, now it's so easy to jump in that transfer portal. The NCAA gives out waivers like they're candy on Halloween. And, a guy like CJ Stroud, who Ohio State fans are very excited about, could end up elsewhere playing football next year. So, just something to think about in terms of the Justin Fields stuff. I do think he probably makes the decision to go to the NFL. You don't have to worry about it. And as you said, if he comes back, you're in very good shape as a team, especially offensively. But, you do kind of have to always have in the back of your mind, right, how does this impact the future? And that is one possible small downside, I guess.
Another big reason to keep it locked in at 247 Sports, Bucknuts with Pat and the rest of the staff there. Again, bucknuts.com. You see it right there, 247 Sports, and right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Pat, it's always a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you. I enjoy it.